Good evening, everybody. I'm Nighthawk, your host tonight for Into the Red Rabbit Hole. I want to thank you for this special edition. We have basically got three uh, fun-filled incidences to talk about, and whether it was government controlled or just we are guinea pigs, who knows? Okay, we're going to cover quite a bit tonight. We're going to cover spontaneous human combustion. We're going to cover reptilians, and we might even get into a little bit of AI discussion and also shadow people. Okay. So, that being said, the copyright disclaimer is this channel, Nighthawk High Strangeness Podcast channel, may use some copyrighted materials without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use Act, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strangeness Podcast channel and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for educational purposes, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, general knowledge, and let's not forget entertainment value per Title 17, subsection 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act. Alrighty, let me get that off of there. Put something a little bit more entertaining on the screen for you all. How about this? How about that? Let's talk spontaneous human combustion. Yes, that is actually a thing, folks. Actually a thing. We first started hearing about this back in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was happening a lot around the islands in the Mediterranean, like Sicily and stuff like that. And basically island chains that were owned and governed by Italy. Okay. Now, spontaneous human combustion, they say, is a buildup of carbon monoxide levels in your body, and somehow your body generates the heat to catch on fire. Okay. And yes, usually this is a serious enough condition to stop you from being, well, how do I want to put it? To stop you from being alive. That'd probably be the best way to put it. Um, you know, I've constantly on this channel, I constantly talk about the human energy and the human energy field around our bodies. Okay. Our psyche has something very, very connected with our brain to be connected to this theory of human combustion. Okay. Now we can also chalk it up to basically, were these demonic possessions of people that basically God struck down? Possibly. That possibly could be the truth. Okay. But let's delve a little deeper into this. Okay. When we work with our energy, okay, our chi, whatever you want to call it, our spirit, our essence, whatever you want to call it is fine with me. Okay. But when we work with that chi and we hold that chi or that energy in the palms of our hands like a basketball, we can feel the heat already coming from our hands. Okay. I've taught several people how to do this already. Okay. Cycling your energy through your body. Okay. And conditioning it to go back into the earth and back up out of the earth to where you're grounded. Okay. Now, that being said, there are people out there that have abilities above and beyond the normal that people could actually do themselves. Okay. I don't want to say superhuman because that would make them seem almost immortal, and I don't want to do that. But what we're talking about are people that are have that special knack or gift, whether you think it's from the Creator, God, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him, you call him. Okay. I like to say our Father in heaven. Okay. And you all know why I say that. Because the God of this world, when we pray to God, I basically feel that we are opening up for Satan to basically gain strength and control us even more. Because remember, in the Bible, Jesus told Satan, you are not only the prince of this world, you are the God of this world. So when you go to church and you pray to God, make sure you know in your heart of hearts what God you're praying to. Okay. So, but anyway, spontaneous human combustion. Yeah, this first started acting up around 1978. Okay. There were a couple cases here in the States where people basically caught on fire spontaneously. Okay. And nobody could determine as to why. Medically, chemically, were they assassinated? Were they just lit with a match and put on fire from gasoline? I mean, nobody could figure it out, okay, in the United States. But when it started happening overseas, especially around a certain area of the world in the Mediterranean, it really got noticed in the 80s, okay? There was a village on an island just off the coast of Italy that basically several dozen individuals that lived on that island spontaneously burst out into flames and basically burnt up to death. Okay. Now, they don't know what the real cause of it is. Could they have been delving in something that they shouldn't have? Yes, that's very possible. I don't think they went very deep into the background of the people that were spontaneously combusting, but several of them were prominent individuals like the mayors of a city and stuff. Very prominent business people. Some were, retiree age. Some were young people. They really couldn't figure out why this was happening. Okay. Now, my theory on the whole thing is, well, you know what my theory is. I shouldn't have to say it. My theory is that the powers that be that control this world were testing a new way of controlling people. Okay. And basically, these people agreed to a contract that was signed, whether it was signed in blood or ink, it doesn't matter, to basically give up their rights for this experiment, but their family would reap the benefits if they actually didn't survive, because their families would basically be paid off by the powers that be, if you know what I mean. So to keep them silent. All right. Now, spontaneous human combustion. Well, that's a heck of a phrase. Um, do you all remember the movie Ghost Rider, the first one that came out, where he was talking? Johnny was talking to the elemental that was inside him of fire, and basically the ball of flames opened up into the palm of his hands. Okay, well, that's pretty true. Okay, that is pretty true. Thank you, Sue. Juno, good to see you. Mary, good to see you. Darcy, good to see you. Um, Basically, in that movie, it showed the ball of fire basically lighting within the palm of his hand, and then he put it out. Okay. Now, that is really something, because when you're working with your energy, you can work yourself up to the point where you could have that fire in the palm of your hand. Believe it or not. Okay. But see, most of mankind has forgotten how to use these elemental powers. Okay. These are powers that, well, let's put it to you this way, it's been scientifically proven that if you take your shoes and your socks off and you walk outside, the more you walk outside in your bare feet and have that connection to Mother Earth, the better you feel, the stronger you feel, the grounded you feel. You start to be able to develop these certain energies that the ground beneath our feet gives to us and gives us every day. And when you put those rubber-soled shoes on, called sneakers or boots, you're limiting that. You're cutting off, because of the rubber-soled shoes and boots, you're cutting off that energy that you draw up from Mother Earth. Okay. Gemini Moon, good to see you. Helen, good to see you. Hello, everybody. Good to see you in the chat. And if you all have any questions too, and or comments, I mean, please, by all means, put them in the chat. Yes, I did change my music up a little bit. So that's a new intro that I had. So, but anyways, yeah, this is just something that has been, and they don't talk about this anymore. It's like all of a sudden it just stopped happening. When we got to the 1990s, it's like this stopped happening. Okay. But for a good 20-year span, they talked about this happening quite a bit. Okay. So, is it the effects of a government test on humans? I think so. I mean, we all know that this is basically a prison planet. Okay. We know that this is a world that is based on the human experiment. Okay. Whether you're talking fallen angels interbreeding with human women, or whether you're talking genetic mutation of man and animals combined, it doesn't matter which subject you pick up on. It just matters that we are living in a petri dish. Okay? Plain and simple. Let's see. Glades Creatures, good to see you. Yeah, Darcy says, I remember them talking about spontaneous human combustion on Unsolved Mysteries quite a few times ago. Yeah. That's yeah, they covered it. You remember the unexplained shows and stuff that they had back in the late 80s? They had all kinds of them out there that basically talked about this. And I remember also the same island chain in the Mediterranean Sea, that where a lot of this happened over there, that was part of Italy. I remember the Pope at the time actually personally avoided any questions about people spontaneously breaking out in flames, okay, and dying. I remember a reporter asking him flat out, the Pope at the time, I think it was Pope John Paul, at the time, that what his thoughts were on it, and the Pope did not even answer the question. In fact, he completely ignored the reporter's question. So, but I just thought that was interesting. I'm sure in the archives of the Vatican, in their vault systems, that they have the information that everybody's seeking. I would almost guarantee that. They are so secretive, just like the Smithsonian, on hiding things. In fact, when it comes to this type of a way of talking about it on this type of a platform, we're not given enough credit, okay, to actually gain something from speaking about these kind of subjects. But I just find it awful funny how spontaneous human combustion was such a big thing in like from 1979 to 1990. It was a big thing. Okay, well, I mean, you read about it in magazines and newspapers. You saw it on TV, and now all of a sudden, nothing. So, my theory and conclusion on the human torches, I should say, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but that's basically what they did to us. That these poor people that died in this way were probably part of some kind of government testing. Okay, kind of like MK Ultra. Okay, mind control, mind manipulation. Science at that time was studying the electrical fields around humans. So I mean that could have been very well part of the programming. Um, and they just basically altered their body's biorhythm enough to where they would catch on fire. Okay. And just like this picture shows, I mean, that's exactly how it's done. It really is sad that they would, that, thinking that we would be safe from our government and other governments from testing on innocent civilians. Um, I know for a fact it happens all the time. And even certain small towns or stuff are tested without even knowing about it. Take for instance the glob rainfall that fell on that small town in Washington State several years ago. It was like a gelatin type of a silicone, clear, thick kind of a goo that fell on plants and animals and on homes and on people. People had flu-like symptoms and eventually died from it. Animals died from it. Birds were found dead. Cats, dogs, basically any pet you had that was outside died from it. Okay. People became either violently ill with the flu or they actually died from it. Okay. In fact, there was one law enforcement officer that said that he saw white vans with several humans wearing white chemical suits collecting samples of this stuff while it was raining. Okay. So obviously, it was a government test. Somebody wanted to test a small fraction of people to see what their reaction would be to that. And I remember that cop he actually got very, very violently ill from it with almost a flu like symptom, vomiting, chills, fever, the whole 9 yards that comes with the flu. Basically, the cop, he didn't die from it, but he wasn't a cop anymore after that. So, but yeah, that's just one of the things that they've done to us over time. So I really do think that the spontaneous human combustion thing was at the time an experiment. Okay. And if you really, really doubt that experiments happen, I mean, I have a list of them. Let me pull that list up here. And I'm sure it'll be big enough on the screen for you all to be able to read it. Let me see here. Where is that list? I know that list is here. Is that it? I'm not sure if that's it or not. Yeah, that's it right there. I mean, that's just a small portion of some of the things that our government has tested on civilians. Okay. And it just doesn't end there. I mean, even the lies. How about the lies that they tell? Oh, yeah, they have a Smithsonian covering up giants. Okay, well, if they're covering up giants and they say that giants didn't exist, then what the hell needs doorways that are 20 some feet tall and door frames, all kinds of things? How about steps? Steps that are, look at the humans. They look like ants on those steps. Okay. If giants weren't real, then why is there so much oversized buildings built for obviously ginormous people? Okay. Or beings, I should say. Okay. It's strange. It really is strange. Okay. Now here's a door. Check out this door. Look at the size of that door. And the locking mechanism is up on the first 1/3 of the door. Okay. Humans wouldn't even be able to move that door. It's so damn heavy. Thick. I mean, you can tell it. That's just thick wood. So yeah, I mean, they're covering up all kinds of stuff. Okay. Take for instance this too. You all remember when I was talking about the vampire cults and all that on a few podcasts a while back. I'm going to pull up the picture of the hooded kids and show you what I'm going to be bringing up here. Let's see here. This one right here. Remember me telling you about the V with the circle around it being a symbol of a vampire cult, and then the one with the line through the V and the circle as a feeding place for the vampire cult? Okay, remember that? I don't know if you all actually watched that episode or not, but you might want to go back in my archives on YouTube and rewatch that. That was a really interesting one. And the reason being is because I saw something that is really disturbing, actually. You take a look at the V with the line through it and a circle and all that. Now watch. Look at that. That's a tattoo, folks. That's on somebody's arm. Let's see. It looks like a V in a circle with a line through it. I don't even know what to say about that. That is just that's crazy. That's crazy insane that it happened like that. I mean, just basically, I talked about it about a month or so ago, and boom, there's a amazing, absolutely amazing. It is amazing what people will do. Absolutely. Let me go back to the chat here real quick. Oh yeah, they definitely have a long history. I mean, they've been basically testing on us since the 1920s, right after World War One. They've been doing all kinds of weird research on civilian populations, whether it's a small town or even a designated ethnic group of individuals. They have been doing this for the longest of times. Oh yeah, that is true. That is true, Glades. Yes, that is true. And World War II. I mean, yeah, look at the buildup to World War II. You had Hitler with fluoride being added to people's food and water and all that to basically dumbify them and to control them to help make it easier to basically brainwash people. And then you had the Russians when it was the USSR experimenting with the genetics combination between ape and human. They wanted to make a super soldier that was a gorilla, basically, as strong as a gorilla and live as long as a human, not experiencing pain. Um, then, you have all kinds of weird things. Okay. We can even go even further, Helen, with the vampire show. Um, the chupacabra, that could even be connected to that vampire symbol. Um, the D could mean the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic had a lot of incidences back in the 80s and the 90s with the chupacabra, along with Haiti and Puerto Rico. They all had it. Okay. And then eventually it somehow miraculously made it from that island over to the Mexican coastline and then on up into Texas and God knows wherever they ended up. I mean, there's literally every day somebody's finding either a pet drained of blood or some kind of farm animals drained with blood. It's almost as prevalent as cattle mutilations if you want to know about from what I think it really is. So but yeah, yeah, they don't care. That is true. Yep. Hey Ray, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. I'm gonna try and keep up with the comments and keep on talking too. Plus, I've got to drink some coffee because I've been having a real hard time breathing. So, but anyways, yeah, Mexico is a big one for the chupacabras. But Texas, there was that one doctor that has a ranch down there in Texas that actually was called by a neighbor and said that they found one dead on the side of the road, and she actually has the thing stuffed and on her property. So don't want to turn it over to the Smithsonian because they'll just deny it. So hey, Scott, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, if you all can, if you could share this out and like it, and make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is at it again. Okay, um, and we can you can help us benefit with the super chat stickers too if you want. But that's not to me. I'm not going to push that. It's up to you guys. If you want to, help support the channel, it's up to you. Okay. Um, but yeah, it's spontaneous human combustion. I mean, it's almost as bad as the cattle mutilations thing and the chupacabra things that have been found lately. Um, it's almost like they say the best way to cover up a crime scene is to burn it down to the ground. You know, and you almost wonder, with the direct energy weapons and stuff that they've got nowadays, and they do have them. Don't let them bullshit you. Okay, they have them. Okay. Um, we all may tease people about having a blue tarp or whatever, but you know what? It probably is the smartest thing in the world to do right now to have a blue roof on your home. Okay. That's just a bit of advice. Okay. I'm not condemning anybody for doing that because you know what? They're trying to keep themselves and their families safe. So, but the same thing goes with what we talk about on this channel too, with the vampire cults, with the chupacabras, with the shadow beings, with the experiments like MK Ultra, Project Bluebeam, which is probably going to happen pretty soon, by the way. War Criminal, good to see you. Mr. Woods, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's doing good. Oh, yep. See, there we go. I get these air pockets right in my throat that I can't talk and can't breathe. But anyways, let's get into the shadow people, okay, or the shadow beings, whatever you want to call them. Um, where I grew up experiencing these things practically every day. I don't think there wasn't a day that I didn't see a shadow being. on our property or in our home. Um, where they come from, it's said that they come from a parallel universe, or maybe they're in the near future, or maybe they are stuck between like dimensions and peeking through another dimension into ours. In other words, they're from a higher dimension and have that capability to peek into ours. Um, but honestly, when it comes to shadow beings, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that, first off, I mean, if they wanted to harm us, they would. They're more than likely just observing. So either there's some kind of a being like a fallen angel, or something along that lines, where they come from the spirit world and watch us, just to see what we do in our lives, and how they can basically utilize us. Um, there he is, the woo. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Um, War Criminal 7, good to see you too, bro. It's good to see you. What are the shadow people? What I believe is that the shadow people are beings coming from that dimension that how I've always talked about. You got like our dimension, then you have another dimension above that, and then so on and so on. And there's like 11 or 12 dimensions. In between the dimensions is like say a piece of paper, okay, between my hands, okay. That piece of paper represents the shadow world, okay, or whatever you want to call it, the upside down world, the veil. A lot of people call it the veil, okay. And I believe that these shadow beings come through the veil to keep an eye on us, okay. That they're a higher dimensional being, okay, but they're not supposed to interact with us physically. Sometimes they do, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're evil. It just depends. Um, I almost I don't want to say that they're a higher being than what we are capable of being, because they come through in such a shadow form that they're darker than the actual darkness around them, which, they could be looking like that for a reason. You maybe they don't want to disclose who they are, or what they are. And they hide within the shadow. We all do that periodically, especially those of us that have been in the military. We know what shadow hiding is. So we should know that. Let me see. How did the government or whatever the source has come to say? No, yeah. Actually, it wasn't the government that said that. It was, well, technically, yes, it was. Technically, no, it wasn't. A NASA scientist actually came forward and said that there was 13 dimensions. Okay. Um, but science has spoken up and said there's only 11 dimensions. I don't see how they can limit the amount of dimensions. I mean, for every action, you have a reaction. Okay. And for every action, you're going to have a different action at a different dimension. So, in other words, take for instance, okay, I'm sitting here wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans, okay, and got my whoop ass gloves on, okay. But in another dimension, I could be sitting here wearing a three-piece suit, and a cowboy hat and a hunk of chaw in my mouth. I mean, that's just the way it is. We each dimension is going to be tweaked just a little bit. So for them to say that there is just 13 or 11 dimensions is completely absurd. Okay, I'm sorry, but they don't have the science to back that up. Okay, so and CERN is, yes, Penny, you are right. CERN is definitely a problem. Um, they have opened up so much portal wise that they are dipping into these other dimensions quite a bit, and that's why you find a lot of the Mandela effects that are happening. You know, that's why we're seeing more of the UFO activity, or excuse me, UAP activity um, happening nowadays. More people missing nowadays. Um, there's so many different things causing people to disappear. To me, it's amazing how quickly people are disappearing. It's almost like they're in the rapture, you know? So, um, yeah, that could be the amount they've found so far. But I've never known our government or government scientists to disclose something unless they were absolutely positively sure that they could either baffle us with bullshit or stun us with intellect. Okay. Um, and I honestly believe that that announcement of the 11 to 13 dimensions existing, I think that was more baffling with bullshit. Okay. Because they can't limit the number of dimensions. It's like limiting the number of universes out there, you know, and there's billions upon billions of universes out there. It goes on and on and on and on, you know. So yeah, I think that they are just, you know, put NASA in the same area with CERN and the Smithsonian, as far as I'm concerned, because all three of them are shadowy. Let's put it that way. Okay, definitely shadowy. So, and then you put AI in the mix too on top of that. I mean, think about it. You know, AI. I just can't believe the amount of that AI has changed what people come to think is real in just social media alone. Okay. What was, I just saw a clip today about the giants have returned. Okay. Okay. Well, I didn't know the Anunnaki returned because they were the giants. Okay. The Anunnaki, they were over 20 feet tall. Okay. Which is why we have so many older architecture that's got these massive doors, like I showed in the beginning of the podcast tonight. So, unless the Anunnaki has returned, then I don't believe giants are going to really make a significant comeback. Okay. Um, do I believe there are tall beings out there? Yeah. I mean, we have 8 foot tall humans. There's an 8 foot 6 inch tall man in India. There's a 7 foot 8 inch tall man in America here. I mean, dude, they're all over the place. I mean, you want to talk gigantism, talk to somebody that wears a size 23 shoe, you know, that's big. Okay. Yeah, that's a big foot. Bad. I know that was bad. All right. Getting back to it though, we are one big petri dish. Okay. That's all we are. Okay. We are set to do things. Okay. We are basically controlled and manipulated through mass media, social media, um, the food that we eat, the beverages we drink, the churches we go to, the religions that we practice. These are all limited things to us, okay? They keep us in control, okay? And we don't even know they're doing it to us. That's the bad thing, okay? That's the bad thing, all right? Let me see here. I'm going to pop some more up here. Yeah, yeah, I would believe that they would have encountered the Shiva and the other deities. That would make sense. I mean, they've got CERN has the Shiva statue right out in front of it. Doing the dance of destruction. With all the arms up in the air and the whole ring of fire around it. I asked myself the question once of whether that I could walking in a world I screamed. Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. That goes back to the whole energy thing too, though, Glades. You think about it, like we talked about a couple times before on the podcast about our energy, our chi, you know, that light. Okay. A lot of people, well, take for instance, like this. Okay. When a lot of people have Bigfoot sightings, okay, or even UFO sightings or whatnot, or even other cryptid sightings, they always talk about seeing an orb. Okay. Or how about, orbs around cemeteries? Okay. Well, it's my belief. Now, it's not proven, but it's my belief that that is the essence spiritually of whatever we're seeing in front of us, whether it's a Bigfoot or whether it's a dog man or whether it's a UFO with, aliens in it, wherever there's an orb, there's energy. Okay. Orbs come through portals all the time. Portals are made from energy. So orbs are attracted to portals. Okay. Especially if it's spirit. Okay. Energy always seeks the same. Okay. Like negative creates more negativity, positivity creates more positivity. You know, it, it's the influencing factor of manifestation, having that ability to manifest it. Okay. Even the best yogis out there, and I don't mean yogi and boo boo, the best yogis out there say that when your spiritual essence is at its peak, you will glow like a light, like a shining moon. Okay. And what they're talking about is that orb, your essence. That's all it is. And I believe that that's all Bigfoot is. When you see an orb with Bigfoot, you know, there's been reports of Bigfoot carrying orbs, under their arms, and walking with them. Now, if that wasn't a part of them, why are they carrying it? I'm just putting it out there. Okay. I'm not saying it's fact. I'm just putting it out there. Okay. So let me go drink coffee here. Anyways, that's a couple of subjects I wanted to talk about tonight. I'm really glad everybody's here. And Edna, good to see you. Good to see you. Too painful to chat. Oh boy. Okay, Nighthawk, I had thought of these kinds of dreams as make believe only for so long. Yeah, well, dreams aren't make believe. I actually had a conversation with somebody this not today, the day before, I believe, about what happens when we fall asleep at night. Um, and I actually researched it. And do you know that there is proven factual data that technically, when our spirit leaves our body when we sleep, because that just doesn't lay there, our spirit experiences other levels, and that's how we have these dreams. Okay, that this person said to me, well, what do you think it is? And I said basically that I think every night when we go to sleep and when we're out until we wake up the next morning with our spirit leaving our body, clinically we're dead. Think about that for a moment. Clinically, we are dead. How do we know our heart's beating? How do we know we're breathing when we're asleep? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. How do we know these things? And I actually found where somebody actually agreed with that kind of a thinking that I had. And it was a scientist, and a very, very well known scientist, too, by the way. He's got a very famous electric car named after him. He used to walk 3 times around the block of a building before he'd enter the building. Bet you didn't know that about Nikola Tesla. Yep. He didn't want to mock anything or do anything. And a lot of people say, well, he was mocking the Trinity. That's not it at all. Nikola Tesla knew the sanctity of the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Okay. That's why he walked around a block of a building he was going to enter 3 times total before entering the building. That's why he always either had the 3rd floor, the 6th floor, or the 9th floor, or the 33rd floor, wherever he lived. Okay. So, and when he was in Colorado Springs doing his test that several people have tried to replicate, and one of them being the rocket scientist from Skinwalker Ranch, Travis, and he actually got to where the light bulbs and stuff that he pounded a stake in the ground and he just touched the light bulb onto it, and with the coil that Tesla invented, it directed the energy to the light in order for it to light up. They ran a remote controlled boat with that same energy, wireless, with the Tesla test equipment and stuff. So I mean, there's breakthroughs that have happened in our past that basically we're not supposed to know about. Okay, now Tesla was onto something. Okay, whether he was getting his stuff actually from mind speaking with aliens, like he said, or whether it was angels talking to him, or whether it was just interdimensional beings. It could have been anything talking to him. Okay. What's Penny say? I can tell you for certain that if you are not breathing, you will know. Yeah, well, how are you going to know? Because once you wake up and you can't, from not breathing, and you're gasping for air, you're awake. So your spirit has come back to your body. Okay. And I'm not saying it's factual, Penny. Don't get me wrong on that. Okay. That's just my opinion. Okay. So that and $1 nowadays might get you a cup of coffee. So, but anyways, it just reminds me of the way energy cycles through our body. Okay. The best thing we can do, and this will be my ending advice to everybody. Okay. The best thing you can do as human beings, especially not in the middle of winter, okay, because I know we're coming into spring pretty soon. Best time to do it. Take your shoes and your socks off and walk on the earth. That's the best thing you can do. You ground yourself better and you promote the energy field in your body a lot better by walking barefoot on the ground. You get that energy from the ground, from Mother Earth. You get that connection, okay, to Mother Earth and all that energy, and you can feel it. Corey, you can probably tell them about this too. The worst thing that mankind invented was sneakers. Sneakers and sandals and stuff like that are the worst things because of the rubber soles. Okay, boots, the whole 9 yards. Any type of shoe. Even the native people knew not to put rubber between their feet. Okay, or thick hide between their feet, because a lot of our moccasins were made from buckskin, or elk skin or something along that lines. Okay, there was no padding or any material used to cushion the blow of our foot hitting Mother Earth. We always had that connection. Okay, we never wore socks inside our moccasins. We weren't, we were savages. Think about it. Who would wear moccasins without socks? Yeah. Anyways, I put that out to you. Come spring, we're going to be getting outside with the podcast. Okay. Some of the stuff will be pre-recorded and some of it won't. Some of it will be live outside, but we'll bring back Nighthawk by the fire and we'll do all kinds of crazy, weird stuff to try to reconnect us to our Earth Mother. Okay, so look for that coming up in the near future, as soon as weather permits. In other words, when all the snow's gone. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight. Okay. Um, Please, like I said, like, heart, and share this out. Okay. We're coming back on at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. It'll be Eric and I. Okay. So, and we're going to talk more about the shadow people and stuff like that. Okay. In the beginning, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay. So we will see you all in the morning. Okay. 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Um, question everything, guys. That's why I do these. Question everything, because things aren't things just don't add up, if you know what I mean. They just don't add up. And the more you question things, the better it's going to be, because you'll be able to discern for yourself what kind of world we live in, what kind of God we pray to, what's in our food, what's in our water, what, I mean, take your shoes off, go outside, curl your toes up in the ground, feel that grass and that earth between your toes, make that connection again. Guarantee you won't be sorry for doing it. So until tomorrow morning, everybody, stay saucy, and we'll see you in the morning. Okay.